What's up, guys? Coach Vassar. Thank you for joining me with OTF Audio Daily Beats. As always, if you're new, appreciate you tuning in, listen to me talk about these workouts. If you have any feedback, let me know. Of course, if you find value in them, information is in the description to support me. We're going to talk about Sunday, November 2nd. This will repeat on Monday, November 17th. We're going to see power on the treads, endurance on the rower, strength on the weight floor. We'll break down the 2G and then talk about the 3G afterwards. So with the 2G today, for the key concepts, we're going to see 8 pairs of a push followed by an all out. In block 1, push gets shorter and more intense. In block 2, all outs get shorter, more intense. For the rower, we're going to have 2 3-minute row for distances. Set your distance in block 1 and then try to match or beat it in the second attempt. On the floor, we'll have 2 tempo couplets. Start slow and controlled and then finish at a normal speed to lock in strength. We are going to have the benches out. We are going to be using mini bands as well, so just be aware of that. Thank you, buddy. All right, so we look at the treads. Block 1, 11 minutes and 15 seconds. There's a 90-second transition time to get them ready for block 2, when that one is 10 minutes and 45 seconds. With the first block, we're going to see a decrease in time in the push with the goal of increasing the push intensity, maintain the all out. So we're going to start off with a 75 push, 30-second all out. With these increases of the push that we take away, power walkers will start at 6% incline or greater. Joggers and runners, obviously 1 to 2 over their base. On the bike and strider, start probably about 3 gears over base, and then we'll try to increase the gear or RPM. All right, so they'll have 75 seconds of work before they get they'll get a minute 45 of work before they get 75 seconds of a walk recovery. With this being a power day, it is a true walk, so try to encourage them to take the full time to recover and get that heart rate to drop substantially. Every round, we're increasing the push, which pre-fatigues the body, making it harder to maintain the all-out. So if they were very aggressive on that 30-second all-out, this is going to be a very good challenge for them to try to increase their push, maintain the all-out. Okay. Every round, the push decreases. So from 75 down to a minute, 45, 30, and then the last round is a 15-second push, like a little ramp up into the all out. And then we move into block 2. For the bikes and striders, as we increase that push every round, of course, it will get to a point where they're going to get closer to like their all out gear. So one thing to kind of be aware of is look at their RPMs. Could they maintain the same gear and increase RPMs to generate more power output, which in effect means they're creating more effort. Okay. Power walkers, they'll try to increase their push incline every round or their speed that they use at that 6% incline. And of course, joggers and runners, could they add 0.1 or more to their push every round? Now, block 2. Pushes are longer. It's a 2-minute push followed by a 1-minute all out and then a 1-minute walk recovery. Then the push stays the same. All out gets shorter by 15, 1-minute walk recovery. And then the final one is a 3-minute push. And then the final 30 seconds of that, increase intensity. When it comes to the setup for block 2, the push is kind of up to them and to you. So obviously, if they try to start with their 15-second push for 2 minutes, that's going to be rough, right? So maybe they use their 75-second push from block 1 or something more conservative, knowing that they're going to have 3 minutes of work before they have a 1-minute walk recovery. That's why it's important to forecast those paired efforts so they know, hey, you're going to start with a 2-minute push into a 1-minute all out. They have 3 minutes of work, okay? And the goal is to maintain or increase the all out every round. You said you're not going to have that. Don't hit me. You will lose your hanger, sir. Yeah, my little guy's awake still, so cool. Are you going to watch Bluey or what? Do I need to turn off Bluey? Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. As the all-outs get shorter, increase the intensity. So higher incline, more speed, increase RPMs or increase gear for the bike and strider. All right, enough about that. It's pretty simple. So really about coaching to heart rate response and how they're feeling. It's going to be super important for you guys. On the weight floor side, 4 blocks. 1 and 3, specifically on the floor. 2 and 4, they're at the rower. So block 1, we're going to see a tempo mid-band deadlift. So the band is going to go across the middle of the shin or just below the knee, kind of in that range. 4 reps paired up with 8 reps of a standard tempo. So really approach this with a moderate weight choice, knowing that even though they're doing 12 reps on paper, it's going to feel closer to if they did like 16 to 20, because we have that slow tempo for the first 4 reps. Put a lot of load onto that eccentric phase to really light up those hamstrings and glutes, and then have those controlled efforts for 8 reps afterwards. That's then going to pair up with the mid-band seated torso rotation. 10 reps here. Obviously, that mini band is going to try to pull the knees in, cave them in, so they have to keep those lateral glutes activated. That's what's going to fatigue for most people, and that's why we want to rest, is that mid-band work on the hips. We're going to feel those knees track inward over time, so allow them to rest after each movement, so that way they could keep that stabilization and the alignment of their hip, their knee to their ankle, whether they're in a hinge position with the deadlift or in that seated position with the torso rotation. Also keep in mind, with the benches out, people could do a seated torso rotation with their feet on the ground to help make it a little bit easier than trying to get all the way down to the floor. They'll repeat that for 7 minutes. With these slow tempos and rest, hopefully we only see them get about 2 rounds in. If they're speeding through it, they're kind of defeating the purpose. So 2, at most 3 rounds. All right, then they're going to head to the rower. 3-minute row for distance. Accumulate as much distance as possible. Approach this as either like a steady state, like hold a conservative push, or start at base and build your way up. Either way, we'll probably see typically around 600 to 900 plus meters. What we want to make sure that they do, though, is when they finish, they should feel strong, like they could keep going. If they're completely gassed out, it's going to be hard to match or beat their distance at the very end, because of course we're going to have some more work on the weight floor. Okay, so if they finish at like a push to almost a push all out, where they're like, hey, I could have gone for another 30 seconds, cool. All right, kind of save some in the tank, so that way when you do come back, definitely go for broke and get your best distance of the day. However, before that happens, we have another floor block, 3 new movements. You'll have the slow tempo bench chest press. So from that extended position, 3 counts down, pause at the bottom, make sure elbows are slightly furred out, and they should be below the line of the body, so they get that stretch in the pecs, and then 1 count up. If you really want to make it evil on these slow tempos, you could try to do 3 counts each direction, and that's very helpful for the members who they don't quite have the weight they need. Maybe the heavy weight they want isn't accessible and they're having to use a lighter weight. Well, slow it down both directions, right? Or if you have people who are like, hey, I just don't feel it. Okay, well, if you go slower, you're going to feel that stretch. Now, can you squeeze that muscle just as slow and controlled on the way up? That will then pair into 8 reps with the regular tempo, and then dumbbell alternating forward lunges. Of course, everyone has their opinion on lunges. These are super important because this is how we're going to strengthen the quads when it comes to like downhill deceleration. Because we obviously don't train that at Orange Theory. We do a lot of uphill stuff, but not downhill. But by eccentrically loading the knee as we step forward into it, helps strengthen the knee and the quads and the tendons around it. So it's a very beneficial movement. They always recommend option is to do like a reverse lunge. Try not to do squats. If people are sick of reverse lunges, have them do step-ups. That way they still get that unilateral work, and they do 10 total. After that, you have 1 minute. 1 minute, head back to the rower, attribute your row distance. You got 3 minutes. And that is it. Now, when we look at the 3G, 2 blocks on the treads, 1 long block on the floor, 1 long block on the rower, 2 blocks on the floor. So the tread side, it's going to look very similar to the 2G, except for we're going to only have 4 rounds. We're going to start at the 1 minute push, 30 all out. And in the 3G, they only have 45 seconds of recovery after each paired effort. So there's less recovery, but obviously more work within that block. So try to maintain like a moderate range push and build off of it and maintain that all out throughout. So start with a 1 minute push, and then on the 45, 30, and 15, could they add 0.1 or more every time, or incline or gear RPM. On the second block, it's just like the 2G. The push is now set for 1 minute every round, and then they have a 45, a 30-second all out, and then they'll repeat it again for another 1 minute push, 30 all out. Fun, exciting. After that, looking at the rower, we're going to see a 600-meter push row that will decrease by 100 meters every round. Every round, we're going to alternate between 2 different movements. So the odd rounds, which means you have the even lead-in number distance. So 600 meters, 400, and 200. That's 1, 3, and 5. They're going to do a Y-bell squat to press. And then for rounds 2, 4, and 6, 500, 300, and 100, they're going to do a split squat hold tricep extension, 5 per side. So the squat to press, they're going to hold that Y belt in between the legs, the squat, and then just press overhead like a ground to overhead motion. And then with a split squat hold, tricep extension, they're overhead, 5 reps here. They switch legs, do another 5. And the goal is to increase row intensity as the distance decreases. So looking at split time is a great metric. Of course, the average watts as well. So that 600 meter push row, look at their split time. And then when they go into their 500 meter push row, could they have their split time go down by about 1 to 3 seconds and also see their average wattage go up like 5 to 10 watts, right? So using the stored programs is going to be super beneficial for that. If they finish round 6, 100 meters and the split squat, then they just row until a 30-second all out. Weight floor, it's actually the 2 floor blocks from the 2G. So the deadlift with the torso rotation, the chest press with the forward lunge. And then their finisher is either the chest press or the forward lunge for the final 30. And that's it. As always, any feedback, let me know. If you find value in them, information in the description to support me. And you guys, coach it down.